Hey, welcome back traders to another market preview, this time for the week of August 4th. And let's jump right into it with the dollar index on the weekly chart. Okay, so for dollar index, for the past few months I have been looking for these relative highs and the drawn liquidity above these relative highs. But last week was non-farm payroll, and with the price action, price came up to rebalance this fair value gap and then dropped, closing below this fair value gap as well as the mean threshold on this weekly order block. So because of that, I am no longer looking for the relative highs to be reached, nor the draw liquidity above these old relative highs. Instead, I'm thinking price will come down and take the sell side below the swing low and come back into this lower fair value gap. So currently I am going to be bearish on the dollar index. Now taking a look at the daily chart, this swing low is that weekly swing low that I'm looking for the dollar index to come down and get to. You can see that price did drop down and close below that mean threshold on the weekly order block, but there's also this daily swing low right here that we did come down and sweep below. Now we could have some sort of retracement, something like price coming back up here, which aligns with this old low as well as that weekly fair value gap, and then we can see a drop down to our sell side from there. Now there is a possibility we could retrace in higher back up to this daily order block, and I have the mean threshold drawn out as well, but I do not really want to see price to close above this mean threshold, and I do not want to see price come up and take out this swing high at either. Now if this swing high does get taken, then I could shift my bias again and start once again to look for the relative highs, but currently I am bearish. I am looking for the sell side down here to get taken first. Moving on to S&P on the weekly chart, we can see that we've had 3 weeks of decline. We've traded through this fair value gap and completely rebalanced it. First we wick through and then we have a body lay over it. And then last week we did close below these 2 down candles, which is a weekly order block. Now, if I go ahead and take the low of this week's candle and the high, you can see that the mean threshold here, we just tapped it and now we are kind of coming back a little bit. So we could see some kind of retracement, but overall I am going to be bearish. I'm looking for the sell side liquidity down here to get taken and work its way back into this fair value gap, which also lines up with this order block, with the order block high being at the low of this fair value gap. Here on the daily chart, I am looking for price to come and take the sell side below the swing low and come into our weekly fair value gap. I have the mean threshold on that weekly order block drawn out, and as you can see, we just tapped it and we're kind of going up right now. Now, we could have some sort of a down candle such as this, and we create another fair value gap, and then I could think price could go back to rebalance that fair value gap or even come back up a little bit more for this volume balance or go back into this daily order block, and then come down to take our sell side liquidity. Now, if the retracement is a lot and it closes above the mean threshold of this order block, that's going to be my last line of defense. It's going to signal me to come and look for this swing high as well as the all-time highs. Okay, moving on to Nasdaq, here's the weekly chart, and for the past few weeks we've had a lot of decline. We've come down and traded through this fair value gap, we traded through this weekly order block, and we came back into this weekly fair value gap. So we could see some retracement, but if I'm looking for any lower targets, we have another weekly fair value gap. We have this order block with the mean threshold, so that could also be a target. And of course, we could be looking at the sell side liquidity below this swing low. But should we have some retracement, let's get down into the daily chart to see how price could behave. So on the daily chart, we do have that weekly mean threshold as a target and also this swing low as a target for the sell side liquidity below that. But let's focus in on the last couple of weeks of price action. So last week you can see that we used this daily fair value gap and we bounced off of it back into this old low and into this fair value gap. We rebalanced this some, and then on Thursday and non-farm payroll Friday we dropped down, taking the sell side liquidity below a previous swing low. And you can see my drawing here how I thought price could behave, and it kind of did it, although we did get this pop up to the old low on Thursday rather than Tuesday that I thought it could happen. And then we came down and then we hit our sell side target. Same as S&P, we could create a down candle, creating another fair value gap. And let me go ahead and just clean up some of this. And then we could have price come back up to this fair value gap, or even come back up into this order block, and then have it come back down for our sell side target. Back down over here, we'll go to the mean threshold and perhaps even lower than that. But something like this and this daily order block, I do not want to see the mean threshold get closed above. I really want to see this order block push price down into our sell side target. I really don't think price is going to come back and take the swing high over here. If it does, then I could be changing my bias back up and thinking price could take out the all-time high once again. But just like S&P, I am going to be bearish on Nasdaq as well. So that's pretty much it for me this week. We have non-farm payroll behind us, so it is game on. I'm bearish across the board, but I do want to see some retracement because that's going to give me the best reward to risk. But at the start of the week, price could just dive straight down for the sell side liquidity. In that case, I won't have many opportunities to engage and may miss the move entirely. But that's okay because I'd rather be patient and wait for my setup that I'm used to seeing and comfortable in taking than to just start chasing. So I hope you got something of value out of this video. You can help me out by giving this video a like and subscribing for more content. Stay patient, look for your setup, and as always, safe trading.